Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here, welcome back to the railway and welcome back to another review, this time of a Spanish tank engine. Over the last few months or so then, I've had one or two comments asking me, are there any decent Steam models for less than 50 quid? So in response to that, I've picked up this. Now, I say this is a Spanish tank engine, but I'm pretty sure these were built in Britain. As you can see, this is also made by Electrotren, which is a Hornby brand, so even though it doesn't say Hornby, it is effectively Hornby. And the price was right on target, as you can see there, exactly £50. I actually bought this from the Hornby stand at Worley. Now, if you want to pick one of these up, there's actually a slightly better price for these on Amazon. It's a few pounds less, so I've got an affiliate link down in the description. There was only 8 left in stock at the time of filming though, so do be quick if you do fancy picking one up. And by the way, I'm also giving one of these away in my next series of live streams starting tomorrow, so make sure you tune into that. So this is interesting. I've only ever looked at one Electrotren loco before and it was very, very good, especially for the money. So let's find out what the 50 quid tank engine is like. Let's do it. So, I have to admit to you, before I saw these for sale, I had no idea they existed. I'd never heard of them before. I still don't know an awful lot about them. I've looked them up and I've found some history, and I'll let you have that in just a second. But there's not an awful lot of information on these out there, so if you do know more about them, please do let me know down in the comments, because I'd be interested to learn more. So it's 50 quid, it's Electrotren. Let me show you the end of the box. As you can see, this is E0049 Locomotora di Vapor 030, which I think must roughly translate to steam locomotive 060, and then Baracaldo, which is the name, and I will not attempt a Spanish accent on any of this stuff, by the way. It's also HO gauge, as you can see by the front of the box. A lot of people ask me what the difference between HO and 00 is. Well, in gauge, there's no difference whatsoever, but obviously 00 is slightly larger in scale than HO, but you can mix and match the, two different scales on the same track, provided you don't mind the slight difference in scale, but from a mechanical perspective, it does work absolutely fine. Anyway, there's not a lot to see on the box. There's just some sort of like guff on the back, so we can get this out straight away. And I remember being really impressed by the quality of the packaging last time I had an Electrotren loco, given how cheap it was. So there we go. As you can see, yeah, this one is no different. We've got this really dense foam which holds the loco nicely. I will pull out the blister pack. Oh, there it is. Can you see that there? Yeah, it's looking good, isn't it? We'll take a close look at that in just a second, but I'll have a quick dig inside the packaging, see if we can find some info. Oh, yep, we've got something here. So, Electrotren, let's have a look at this. So there's a bit of a diagram here. As you can see, this shows the mechanism. It is DCC ready, which is great for a loco so cheap. You can see it does, I think, use the same sort of Type 7 motor, I think it is, that the likes of the Terriers and that Baracaldo 060 used. Not great motors, as you can find out if you look up in the top corner right now. What have we got on the other side? Oh, okay, no, I just didn't unfold it fully. Yep, there's more shots there of the wheel set and such. So, yeah, that's quite handy. Basically, it's a parts list, I assume. So, yeah, you know what you've got, and I suppose you can order replacements, presumably. And what's this then? No idea what that is, but it's all in foreign languages. I bet there's an English section there, but I have a funny feeling there's nothing there that will really interest me. So let's put all this to one side and get a look at the loco. So there it is. Yeah, it's pretty small, isn't it? But yeah, it's a lot cheaper than the likes of the Peckets and the, I don't know, the Bachmann E1s, which are a sort of similar size. So it will be really interesting to see what this is like. What's it like for 50 quid? Right, let's get this out then. As I say, decent packaging. It's exactly what we're used to from Hornby. It's even got the plastic cover on the top, which is really good. Right, here we go. Okay. So this thing looks really decent. I mean, when you think 50 quid, you think railroad. Now, this obviously does not look like the most detailed loco I've ever owned in my life, but it also doesn't look like a railroad loco, does it? There seems to be a degree of detail on there. Quite obviously, there is no metalwork where the body's concerned. It feels as though the running plate and the tanks slash boiler, the cab, it all seems to be made of plastic, which is more or less what you'd expect for that price. But besides that, yeah, it looks pretty decent, doesn't it? So I'm going to give you a little bit of history. I warn you, there's not a terrible amount. I didn't find a terrible amount on these. And then we'll take a close look and find out just what this is like. Really, really interesting stuff. So Baracaldo was part of a small batch of 060 locomotives. Sorry, I'm laughing at that ridiculously British pronunciation of that. In Europe, of course, they are known as 030s because I believe they count axles rather than actual wheels, so everything's halved effectively. And they were built by Sharp, Stewart and Company, who were quite interestingly, as I said at the start, based in the UK. They were founded in Manchester in 1843, and they eventually moved to Scotland in the late 1880s. This example was supposedly built in 1881, which suggests that it's Manchester built, I assume, for the Triano Railroad, if I've pronounced that right. So despite not running in the UK, there's this really interesting situation where we have a very British looking locomotive, or I think it's reasonably British looking, but it's running over in Spain. So yeah, this is a British loco, effectively, that I didn't know we had. So with that, let's take a nice close look. So there it is then, Baracaldo up close and personal for you, and my honest opinion is that I'm really happy with this. This is a really decent little model. Now obviously, yeah, the price is a massive factor in that statement because I think I'd be really annoyed if I'd paid, say, £100 or something like that for this, because the level of detail is quite obviously way below locos of that price tag. However, for 50 quid, I do not think this is bad at all, particularly compared with the level of detail on the Hornby Railroad locos, which are often similarly priced. The quality as well, regardless of the detail, is absolutely top notch. It's just so well assembled, there's not a mark on it. It is quite dusty, I've noticed, which is strange because I've not had it out of the box. So yeah, go figure with that. But besides that, yeah, it looks really, really good. Let's take a look at some of the decoration then. So we have the nameplate here, which is not etched. I believe it is just tampo printed, but as you can see, done to a high standard. It looks pretty good. We also have the running number and the builder's plate printed onto the side of the cab, which all looks fine. And the side of the cab itself, which by the way is not a very British looking cab. You can sort of tell that that was designed for another country. I don't know what it is. I guess it's probably the curved roof, there's something about it. But yeah, besides that, nicely painted, and even though we don't have any glazed windows on this model, you can see that the windows are nicely lined as well. And get this, while we're talking about the cab detail that is painted as well. I mean, very, very basically painted, it's just lined in gold very slightly. But that is not bad at all, is it? We actually have a functioning cab here. The rivet detail around the cab is really good, as you can see. Strangely, we don't have any sort of coal load in the bunker, which made me question, is this even a coal bunker? I think it is, but for whatever reason, they haven't included any coal inside there. We have quite a complex array of separately fitted parts. Just above the cab we have the whistle, which is sort of piped in with this very thin little bit of sort of wire here, which you'll have to be careful with. And then the dome here is also connected to the cab with these very thin pieces of plastic. The chimney is interesting as well. I don't know what the purpose of this device is. Does this sort of shut over the chimney funnel perhaps to stop water going in? Does it direct the fumes in a certain way? Possibly. I'm not entirely sure about that, but it's very unusual and also a little bit fragile, so you have to be careful of that, but it's not alarmingly so. The area around the tanks is fairly basic. As you can see, all of the pipework and such here is just moulded onto the bodywork, just like the reversing rod is over on the other side. So it is relatively basic. Don't be expecting a massive level of detail with these. But we do have the nicely moulded springs and such, which is a good detail, I suppose. The smoke box door is pretty basic as well. The handle there is just a part of the moulding, but it has been lined, which is pretty good. The running plate has quite a few separately fitted parts, including lamp irons and some other gold painted objects that I don't really recognise. That one almost looks like a whistle, but I doubt it would be just there. The buffer beams look good as well. There's lots of riveted detail, as you can tell, with nice realistic looking buffers. They are not sprung or anything like that, which is fair enough, I think, for the price, but worth mentioning nonetheless. And as you can see, we have the European style of coupling on this model, which might freak out British viewers, I'm not too sure, but they're NEM. So you can literally just tear them out and stick in a NEM tension lock if you'd like to. and you can haul your British rolling stock, which is fantastic. Really, really good for the money. The wheel set looks great as well. Now, Helgen's £150 tank engine didn't do this, but here we are with Hornby's 50 quid Electrotren 060, and the axles are hidden. That looks fantastic. That just really makes the whole model look so much more realistic. You look at this and think model. You don't look at it and think toy. And also the coupling rods and the connecting rods look great as well. They're nice and fine. So assuming it works properly, yeah, we should have quite a nice realistic overall look with this. So there we go. Hopefully you enjoyed the detail on that one. Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it, for the money? Not going to be blowing you away, and obviously Hornby do have more detailed 060 tank engines, the Peckett's, just to mention one. But yeah, it's not bad for the money. Very, very pleased. So with that then, let's go and talk about performance. We'll take a look at the mechanism and ultimately, most importantly, find out how this little cheap engine runs. Alright, so there she is then down onto the track, ready for the first ever test, and on paper I would say this will be a fairly decent performer. I would say the mechanism is about in line with what you'd expect for a loco of this price. So the weight isn't amazing, obviously, because most of the body is just plastic. It doesn't weigh a great deal as a result. I weighed this in at 105 grams, so it's not going to be hauling a massive amount. The other downside, of course, is the 3-pole motor. Generally speaking, 5 poles are much better, so is this going to be a great crawler? I don't know, it's possible. It does, however, have full pickups on every wheel, which is pretty good. The pickups are a little bit wiry and fiddly, but they do all seem to be making contact, which is great. And take a look at this. The pickups are wired, so I can't get the base plate far away, but you can see that there are proper bearings on the wheel set, which is just fantastic. I've paid 2-3 times the price of this for locos in the past and not had proper bearings on them, so that's really, really good. Right, first test then. Bear in mind this has not yet been run in, so I'm not expecting astonishing performance, but fingers crossed and hope it works. Okay, the 50 quid tank engine, here it goes. Turning it up slowly. There it goes, look at that. First run out of the box and it's beautifully smooth. Now, is it going to cut out? That's the question. Probably, but not yet. It's going to cut out on the express points. That's my guess, but we'll see if it does or not. That is actually really lovely. Oh yes, it has cut out on the express point at quite some speed as well. Yes, it didn't like that, but yeah, that's all right. It's still in its early career, isn't it? Yes, it's a bit noisy, that must be said, at the higher speeds, but that crawl was fantastic. Look at that. So yeah, it's a 3-pole motor. I'm pretty sure it's a 3-pole. It looks like the Type 7. But then again, the likes of the L&YR Pug were great crawlers, weren't they? The old Hornby Terriers were, so yeah. Oops, oh, it did cut out for a second there. That is absolutely fantastic. Brilliant, brilliant slow speed. Right, let's get this running in then, and I guess we'll see how she gets on. Right, half speed, here we go. So it's certainly not what you'd call a nice quiet runner, and it runs a little bit quick actually as well. However, it's nice and smooth, and it seems to be fairly reliable, unless you get onto those big points. So, great little runner, fantastic. Yeah, I'm very impressed with that crawl straight out of the box. Lovely, so I'll see you in half an hour, although for you it will just be a couple of seconds, and then we'll do some pulling tests, see if she can haul a load. Okay, I will be right back. Okay, there we go, running in has concluded, and generally speaking that went pretty well. It wasn't 100% without issue, it did keep stopping on the various points, which is really quite annoying. So if you get one of these, be prepared to have to adjust the pickups. For me, myself, I think I'm just going to live with it until she's due for a service, and then I will obviously make some adjustments there. But it does seem as though at least one or possibly more of the pickups are not making great contact with the wheels, which I think is why it's struggling so much, because obviously the wheelbase is more than large enough to get it over express points without a problem. Either way, it's had a good run in now, so let's do another crawl and just see if it's still, well, just confirm really that it still can. So here we go, turning it up. As you can see, that is just amazing. There are much more expensive models out there that cannot crawl as well as that, so I'm thoroughly impressed with that. Absolutely fantastic, although it has just stopped. There we go. And again on the express points. So yeah, the stopping is a frustration. I assume it won't be the same with all of them. If you get one whose pickups are perfectly applied, yeah, probably it won't be stopping anywhere near as much. But I must say my Great Western Barclay, which I believe uses the same chassis, you'll see it in a second, that has similar problems. So that's 2 out of 2 for me. Either way, as you know, it's unwise to overload motors like this, as we've seen in a previous video. So I haven't got many wagons here. There's 6 wagons, I think, with a brake van, so not too much for her to haul. As you can see, I have fitted a sort of British tension lock coupling, which was very, very easy thanks to the standard NEM socket, which was on the loco. Real thumbs up for that. So we can go ahead and get this coupled straight away. So here she goes. British wagons, of course, so I'll just pretend that she's a visiting loco or something like that, or perhaps come back to Glasgow or Manchester, wherever it was from, for a bit of a service perhaps. Yeah, there we are. There's the backstory. Okay, here we go. Can she manage them? Yes, she can. The pulling force is 0.14 newtons, which is not great. It's about the same as the Peckett 040, the W4. So yeah, not very powerful because it's so light, but it is capable, as you can see, of hauling these. Okay, so on the inside line, well, the middle line, I'm going to be running the only other Electrotren loco I own. And this one stopped. Yeah, it's such a shame it's unreliable like that on the points, because I really wanted to give it a 5 out of 5 on performance, but of course I can't with it being like that. So there we are, there's the other Electrotren. Like I say, same chassis I think, but a very different body. That's supposed to look like a Barclay 060 with a very small passenger train, so off that one goes. And then on the very inside line, I have another real budget offering from Hornby, which is not running. Hang on. So you can buy these for more like sort of 30, 40 quid, can't you? This is the Ginty, of course, although it's nowhere near as nicely detailed. So yeah, very interesting stuff. Let's carry on with the running session. Cut out again. I'm not having a good day on pickups, and I've only just cleaned the track as well. Let's catch up and see how the Baracaldo is running. Yeah, I really like this. It's very unusual, isn't it? But it's just gorgeous, isn't it? Very old-fashioned looking, of course. Great performer overall, great price, and reasonable level of detail. So really, how can you go wrong? I cannot complain for the money, really can't. And the same was pretty much true for that one as well, the Barclay. Similar price, very good. By the way, don't forget to see which other locos you can spot on the line, and there is an odd one out today. So let's go ahead and look at the ratings for this then. So yep, the level of detail, while it was fairly impressive for the price, it was pretty basic, wasn't it? So the cab detail, very basic, no sprung buffers, lots of moulded details as opposed to separately fitted ones. Although, yep, the painted detail was pretty good. Overall, yep, not too bad, exactly what you'd expect for the money, perhaps even slightly better, as I say. The performance is very, very good as well. It has an excellent slow crawl. It's not particularly quiet when it runs at the high speeds, and it does have a tendency to stutter and stop on points, particularly express points. However, yep, overall the performance isn't too bad. The power, as you can see, 12 coaches, yep, that's not too bad. I would say that's about right for a loco of this size. It's only the same as the 040 Peckett can do though. So not terribly powerful, but adequate at the very least. The mechanism is okay as well. It's got proper bearings, full pickups going to all of the wheels. It does only have a 3-pole motor though, which is a little bit of a shame. The quality is very good as well. The way these are assembled is very impressive indeed. Not a mark on it, no glue stains or anything like that. Beautifully assembled, although it is a bit plasticky. Obviously all of the body being plastic is, yeah, a little bit cheap and nasty, and it could do with the extra weight. But overall, yep, the quality is very good. The value then for 50 quid is just fantastic, isn't it? I mean, this is really, really good for the money, I would say, and you can get it even less. Like I say, there's a link down in the description which will take you to Amazon, where you can get these for, I think, £48 at the time of filming. Or, as I say, I'm giving one of these away. I've got 2 of them. I'm giving one away in my next series of live streams, which is starting tomorrow. So if you want to get one, make sure you're entered for that as well. Overall then, that is 7.27 out of 10, a very decent score for a budget loco, I'd say. There we go, into the logbook, 5th, just above the Dapol railcar and below the Helgen Garrett. So let me know in the poll then, would you buy this? Would you be put off by the fact that this is Spanish, or would you decide to pick one up? Yes. So let me know in the poll, and let me know in the comments your reasons for the decision you come to. Overall though, I can highly recommend this. Let's hope they make some more, because there's only 8 left in stock when I started to film this. So there you have it then, folks. Oh, the Andrew Barclays just stopped right in front, but never mind. So yeah, let me know. Would you like to see more budget locos like this? If there were more that were actually this good for the money, I would definitely be interested in doing more. But for now, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very, very much for your company. That was quite interesting, I hope. Yeah, seeing a real cheap loco like that. Very reassuring, isn't it? Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you on the next one. Cheers, everybody.